Hi everyone, it's Ray and time for another project management tip. Today, let's talk about important categories of project cost. Now, as you probably know, if you've read my book, Risk Assessment Framework, I firmly believe that having categories and prompt lists can help with brainstorming. While some budget estimates can be computed, a big part of the job is to ensure that all costs are included. Therefore, it's critical to consider all the charges, including taxes, fees, and economic conditions. In addition, one or more of these categories may be required breakdowns for your budget. So here are 6 different ways of looking at project costs to ensure they are all included and that your monitoring and controlling efforts are successful. People, equipment, and material costs. Now, this first category is easily recognized as the project management definition of resources. This categorization is excellent for the first pass over project resources to break them down into 3 major groups. Be careful about accumulating all costs, including fees, operational costs, taxes, and so on. Direct versus indirect costs. Direct costs are those directly attributable to the project. For example, they might include expenses such as team salaries and training, special software or tools needed for the project, and materials such as lumber, nails, or chemical agents. Indirect costs are shared costs such as office leases for a headquarters building or shared copy machines. Depending on your organization's budgets, you may need to track some portion of indirect costs. Also, it is how the item purchased is applied and its relationship to the project that's important. For example, don't just assume leases are indirect costs. I've managed projects where particular work locations had to be leased for the project, making them direct costs. Fixed versus variable costs. Fixed costs are those that remain more or less constant. For example, they might include the cost of leased workspace or a fixed fee paid. Variable costs vary and may be more difficult to predict. These costs are typically identified with language such as per use or per hour. Therefore, it will be critical to have a solid schedule to estimate the variable costs. Tangible versus intangible costs. Tangible costs are for items we can see, touch, or feel. Most project resources will fall into this category. Intangible costs are for non-physical costs, which are also more challenging to estimate. These costs might include some form of project waste, such as wasted time. And intangible costs may also include items such as reputation or happiness. For example, unhappy project team members may not work efficiently and more time will be wasted. This wasted time may directly impact tangible costs, such as the time equipment is needed. Finding ways to keep team members happy can keep those costs down. Operational costs. Some equipment may cost money to operate. Costs could include fuel, electricity, maintenance, other sources of energy, and more. As you review your budget, make sure all operating costs for equipment materials have been included. Sunk costs. Sunk costs are those costs that have already been expended. They are also referred to as actual costs, the costs expended in each period. While it can be a bit emotionally tricky, sunk costs should not be considered in making important project decisions. For example, if you spend $1 million only to find no way to complete a project successfully, the project should likely be canceled. Instead, Find a way to make productive use of the work already completed, and don't let that $1 million spent keep you from doing the right thing. Now, this list isn't all inclusive, and there are many, many other ways to slice and dice costs. What ways are you familiar with? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out our new book, published by PPC Group. I wrote it with Inam Hassan, and it's called Project Cost Management. So watch for it in your local Amazon stores or online at accidentalpm.online. Now, thanks again for watching this tip, and I'll see you soon for another project management tip.